Alright, so in this video, kids, I'm going to try to get a little bit further. I've got page 2 here, so we are on number 4. In number 4, you can see that I have already graphed the quadrilateral ABCD with those vertices. Quadrilateral ABCD is reflected over the y-axis and then translated 5 units down and 4 units right. Draw the final image, A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, D double prime, and it wants to know what the image points are, the final image points. So the first thing that it asks me to do is to reflect it over the y-axis. So when I do that, this is it tells you right there, that's your y-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the y-axis because I like to be able to see what I'm reflecting over. Because we're reflecting, we're going to count. Because the line is straight, we're going to count straight. So from A, it's 1, 2 to get to the y-axis. So 1, 2 gets me to this side of the y-axis, and that's your A prime. B is 1, 2. B prime is going to be 1, 2. So there's B prime. D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. And I realize that some of this I might be going a little bit too fast. Feel free to pause the video at any point in time that you need to. To get from the line to C, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's my C prime. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my quadrilateral that is A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime that was reflected over the line y equals x. The second transformation that they ask you to do is translated down 5 and right 4. So I am simply going to take each one of these points and count down 5 and then right 4. So I'm going to start with B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't stress how important it is that you count correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my B double prime. Your next point, A. One thing that I do look at as well, and I don't want to confuse you by this, but notice that A is 2 up from B, and because we're doing just a translation, that A is going to end up right here, 2 above B prime. So if I counted, it would be down 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can do that with all of them if it's nice, but counting is never bad either. This is 3 across. As long as you do your first one right, you could do that for all of them. So this is 3, so 1, 2, 3. That's going to give you your C double prime. But again, I can go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and have that. D is 3 above C, so 3 above C is going to be right here. So there's my D double prime. And you've got your quadrilateral. Kind of misconnecting those two. So there is my quadrilateral, and your points are as follow. A double prime is 2, negative 1. B double prime is 2, negative 3. C double prime is negative 1, negative 3. And D double prime is negative 1, 0. Moving on to number 5. Number 5 gives you quadrilateral R, S, T, U, and it gives you the pre-image on the paper already. I already graphed that for you. And it actually does give you quadrilateral, the quadrilateral R prime, S prime, T prime, U prime. So I'm going to go ahead and graph those now because I didn't before. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video for a minute and go ahead and graph them yourself. Okay, so I am back. And we need to find the center and the scale factor. To find the center, there's a couple different ways that we did it. What we did is we found the slope. I'm going to use R. So if I look at R, I'm going to use the slope of it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 2. Remember, you're always going from the bigger one to the smaller one. that can be reduced to negative 2 over 1. So from R, I'm going to go down 2 and over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And then I am going to go ahead and grab a different color. I'm going to look at T. And if I look at T to get from T to T, I go down 2. And I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I go left 4. That is going to reduce to negative 1 over negative 2. So from this T, I go down 1 over 2. So you can see that that is the point right there that they overlap. I'm running out of colors, kids. Use blue. So this is the point that they overlap. So my center is at negative 3, negative 2. Your other option for that, don't forget, is to just connect the points. So I can simply connect R prime with R. The hardest thing here is to make sure that you do a good job connecting those points and that the lines are actually going to line up. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect T and T prime, and you can see that that's still going to hit right there at that center of negative 3, negative 2. Then the last thing that we need to do for this particular problem is we need to check and see what the scale factor is. So in order to do that, I'm going to draw a triangle basically just to see, oh, actually I don't have to, because I have a horizontal line here and a horizontal line here. Remember, to find the scale factor, it is always the new over old. So new over old, or image over your pre-image. In this case, it is S prime U prime, which is equal to, if you count those, there are 9 of them, so 9 over SU, and if I count those here, that's 3. So my scale factor is 3. Oh, sorry, that went off the screen, didn't it? My fault. Okay, so the last one on this page, if we look on this page, we've got number 6, and on number 6 we have a triangle that is over here in quadrant 4. Remember that I told you you have to know what the quadrants are for this test. Remember, this right here is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and down here is quadrant 4. So we've got 4 quadrants, and the final question on something like this may ask you where the final image is. Notice that right here, this triangle DEF is completely in quadrant 4, so it is fully included in quadrant 4. So anything that's fully included in quadrant 4 is going to be fully included in another quadrant for our purposes for this problem. So when I look, the first thing that I did, or that I need to do, it says to transform triangle DEF and reflect it over the y-axis, which we did up there in a different problem. So we're going to go to the y-axis right here, and we're going to reflect it. So 2 to the right, 2 to the left. There's my D prime. This is 3 to the right, 3 to the left is my F prime. E is 4 to the right, so I'm going to go 4 to the left, and there's my E prime. And I'm going to pause while I draw that. So your first image ends up over here in quadrant 3. The next thing that they ask you to do, so your first one right here was to reflect it over the y-axis. My second says reflect over the line y equals negative x. Remember, negative x is going downhill. My center is at 0, 0, and you've got a negative 1 slope. So it's all of these points right here. So I'm going to go ahead and graph the line y equals negative x. And remember, when we graph over a line, we're still going to count, but notice that this one is turned. So since this one is turned, I have to make turns when I do this. So I am going to go ahead and graph or reflect this, and because it's over here, where is it going to end up? end up, it's got to flip, so it's going to end up over here. So I'm going to count to the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to make a turn and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my E double prime. When I look at D, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is D double prime. And finally for F, if I look for F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. F ends up over here. So we're going to go ahead and quickly draw this. I like to use a ruler. You know I have rulers. You should use my rulers. Just don't break them or take them. All right, so the last one, the very last transformation that we have going here is a rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So it's nice that it's about the origin. This tells us right here that it's one turn. And we know because it's counterclockwise, we are going to go lefty. So I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to turn it once to the left. Now remember, we are rotating our last figure that we drew. So it is this one right here that we need to rotate. So when I rotate that figure, that is the one that I need to count, because I am going from the original to the first one to the second one, and now to make the third one, I get from 3 2 to 3. So it's really important that you put those primes there. So when I look at this problem, I can see that, remember I'm going to write down my temporary points. If I look at D, and this is going to be triple prime, except for it's not all on your paper, so you can't see it all. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to write it right here. D double prime, or triple prime. So if I look, I'm going to count from my center, which is right here. It goes left 2 and up 4. So left 2 and up 4. E triple prime goes 4 to the left and 2 up. So 4 to the left and 2 up. And finally F triple prime. If I look at F, that is 3 to the left and 5 up. So 3 to the left and 5 up. Turn it back. Remember, we like when it has the center at the origin, because it's easiest for us to count. There's one last step. So I'm going to go ahead and plot these. This is going to be D is negative 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our D. And remember, this guy is triple prime, because it's our third one in this particular problem. I know there's a lot of work in this one. So the next one is negative 4, 2. So there's my E triple prime. And lastly, my my F is negative 3, 5, which is going to be right here. So there's my F triple prime. And we're going to go ahead and connect them. Now the very last part that we have to accomplish for number 7 is we have to say what quadrant that is in. So if you look, remember it's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Our quadrants go counterclockwise. This green figure right here is my very last transformation. So which quadrant is the final one in? That would be quadrant number 3. I'm sorry, number 2. Number 2, just kidding. Quadrant number 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't care if you write the Roman numeral or if you just write the number 2. If you know what quadrant it is, Mrs. Ward's happy.